Oh, hi, Pete.
Hi.
How was Christmas?
Fine. I got a flamethrower, a jet plane, a platoon of artillery, and a bicycle.
A bicycle?
Yeah. How was your Christmas?
Don't ask. Boy, it's grim around here. Every time you open your mouth, somebody tries to snap your head off.
Why?
My Uncle Kenneth flew in from Europe. He's a foreign correspondent. He works for my dad's paper. Well, a publisher, old J.R. Monster Castle, fired him.
At Christmas time?
Yeah. J.R. stands for just rotten. Come on, let's get out of here.
What's all that?
My Christmas presents. I'm going to do a little trading.
Coffee?
Yeah, thanks. Where is everybody?
Well, Ross is out trading his Christmas presents. Patty and Kathy are in their room cooking up diabolical plots against J.R. Castle, and Kenneth is asleep.
Poor Ken. It's not going to feel much like celebrating New Year's Eve this year.
Neither am I. I think it's inexcusable for J.R. to have fired your brother at Christmas.
It's his newspaper. He can do as he likes with it.
It's his newspaper, but it's my father. I'm not going to let Mr. Castle get away with it, Patty. How are you going to stop him? He's already done it. Father loves being a foreign correspondent for the Chronicle. It's been his whole life. Papa says your dad can go to work on any newspaper in New York. If he wanted to be cooped up in an office, he'd hate that. He may have to get used to it. Not if we use our imaginations. We have to think of something that will make Mr. Castle hire Father again. Kathy, you don't know J.R. like I do. He makes Scrooge look like Santa Claus. I know one way to get him. He's very susceptible to flattery. What is there to flatter him about? What difference does it make? Tell him what a great publisher he is. He'll eat that up. If he were a great publisher, he would have given Father a bonus for what he did instead of firing him. A little soft soap can wash away a lot of problems. I could never flatter Mr. Castle. I would choke on the words.
Morning, J.R.
Good morning, Martin. I thought I'd pick you up so that we could ride over to the UN conference together.
All right.
J.R. is here, man your battle stations.
Meet Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar.
Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning. Coffee?
Yes, thank you.
Cream?
No.
Sugar?
No. Very good coffee, Natalie.
If I'd known you were coming, I'd have prepared it differently.
Sarcasm does not become you, Natalie.
I'm sorry. It's just that when I see a fine newspaper man like Kenneth fired because he used some imagination and went out and got a great story...
Kenneth left his assignment without permission. Illegally entered a country in the middle of a revolution, got the paper in trouble with the State Department, and...
J.R., why don't you take him back?
Tell her, Martin.
It's a fixed policy of the Chronicle. When a man has been fired, he's never rehired.
That's ridiculous.
Natalie, you keep making coffee, and I'll keep running my newspaper.
Excuse me.
She seems disturbed.
She can't stand anyone making a fuss over her coffee. I'll get my notes.
Castle. Good morning, Mr. Castle. Good morning, Mr. Castle.
Good morning, Kathy.
May I speak with you a moment?
Are you also planning to tell me how to run my newspaper?
Oh, I don't think anyone could tell you how to do that, Mr. Castle. You're the greatest publisher in the world.
Who said so?
Father. He's always saying that.
He never said it to me.
I think perhaps Father's a bit afraid of you.
Kenneth Lane afraid of me? He doesn't act that way. Why, he's the most
That's because you make him nervous. See, he thinks of you as being on a high pinnacle.
He said that?
Often. He says the only real newspaper publisher left in the business is J.R. Castle.
Is that so? I always thought he referred to me as Old Sour Lips.
Old Sour Lips? Old Printer's Ink, he always called you.
He did?
Oh, yes. He always says he could never work for anyone else. Where else would he find a warm, sympathetic genius like J.R. Castle to work for?
Young lady, I can't tell you what an impression this little talk has made on me.
Has it?
Indeed it has.
I'm ready, J.R. Oh, Kathy, would you give your father a message for me?
I'd like to hear that.
Certainly, Uncle Martin.
Just tell him I'll have lunch with him at 1 o'clock.
If she gives her father that message, you're going to be dining alone. And you can give your uncle a message for me, young lady. You tell him Old Sour Lips says he's still fired.
Boy, what a wuzza.
What's a wuzza?
J.R. Castle. You should have seen the deep freeze he just gave me.
You should see the deep freeze he just gave me. And besides, there's nothing we can do about it.
About what?
About that wuzza.
Yes, there is. When someone attacks my cousin Kathy, they're attacking me. Old Sour Lips isn't dealing with kids, you know.
Your father's going to do everything he can to see that Uncle Kenneth gets his job back.
I have a feeling that isn't enough, Mamo. It's going to take something diabolical.
Such as what?
I could get all my friends to cancel their subscriptions. That's 3 subscriptions.
Don't wreck the newspaper. Your father's still the editor. Why don't you stop worrying about it, Patty?
No. There must be a way to get to him. We have to find J.R.'s Achilles heel, that's all.
And then?
Hey, look at this. Rebel troops seize Kurdistan. General Mazim overthrows dictator. I always knew old Muzzy could do it. He's a good man. I spent a lot of time with him at his headquarters when he was hiding out in the mountains. I really got to know him.
Perhaps if you told that to Mr. Castle.
What, old Sour Lips? No, I don't need him. I can always get a job.
A desk job?
Oh, what's the matter with that?
You always said that a good newspaper man went out where the news was made, and that the hacks stayed in the offices and put captions on history.
Did I say that? I was lying. Now, that's all behind me now, Kit Kat. It'll be interesting working at a desk.
Will it?
Of course. It means that you and I can be together.
That part of it would be wonderful. But if you were a foreign correspondent again, we'd be together anyway after I finished school.
Now, I want you to stop worrying about it, honey. I mean, I'm going to enjoy settling down. We'll move into an apartment of our own. Maybe we can find a place down in the village. Now, have regular hours, 9 to 5. Get 2-week vacation every year. We'll go back to the scenes of our crimes. Paris, Switzerland, Nairobi, Istanbul.
In 2 weeks?
It'll work out fine. You'll see.
I'll come back for your train. He'd be miserable at a desk job, Patty.
He could go to work as a foreign correspondent on another newspaper.
He loves the Chronicle. I think it hurt him very deeply when Mr. Castle fired him. He's very proud. Working for another newspaper isn't going to ease that hurt. Perhaps if I talked to Mr. Castle.
You already did.
What?
I already did. Forget it.
Old Castle's got a moat around him. You couldn't shake him loose with a... Yes, you could. Kathy, I know what to do. We fix one little detail, and J.R. has to hire your father back. What's the one little detail? Your father has to write a bestseller. What? It's J.R.'s Achilles heel. He's always bragging about my men who have stormed the citadel of the literary world and written best-selling books. The influence of working under a good newspaper publisher can't be emphasized enough. But Father's never written a book. So what? He's the best foreign correspondent in the business, right? Right. He's had all kinds of fantastic adventures, right? Right. Last night he kept us fascinated for hours just telling us of a few of his experiences. All he has to do is put it down on paper. He'll be so famous, J.R. will come crawling to him to get him back. He could write about the time he had breakfast in the kitchen with the Prime Minister. Or about the crap game with the Shah where 20 wives changed hands. Or the time you escaped from the tribe of nomads in Tibet. It could be a great book, Father.
Yeah, but I've never written a book, Kit Kat. I'm afraid
I know you could do it, Uncle Kenneth.
Listen, there's a big difference between being a reporter and sitting down and writing your memoirs.
Will you try?
Well, I suppose I could try.
We've done it again. You can work upstairs. We'll move in a desk for you and some writing tablets and pencils and a typewriter. And we'll be very quiet. I can't believe it. We have a best-selling author in the family. Beautiful. If I were a writer, my mouth would be watering. He can start right away. Boy, wait till old Sour Lips hears about this. The next step is to get the book published. It hasn't been written yet. Do you know your trouble? You worry too much about details. Get ready. Where are we going? To see an old buddy of mine. Who? The biggest publisher in the business, Bennett Blake. We'd like to see Mr. Bennett Blake, please.
You have an appointment.
We don't need an appointment. We're bringing him a bestseller.
I see. Your name, please?
Just tell him Patty Lane and Kathy Lane.
There are two young ladies here to see you, Mr. Blake. Kathy Lane and Patty Lane.
Patty Lane and Kathy Lane? It certainly is lucky you're knowing Mr. Blake. Where do you know him from? I saw him interviewed on a TV show once. You saw him in... Let's get out of here. Don't be silly. We're doing him a favor. How often does a bestseller come along?
No, they don't have an appointment, but they're bringing you a bestseller.
That's even better than an appointment, isn't it? Send them in.
This way, ladies.
Good morning, ladies.
You're Bennett Blake.
Whom are you expecting? My secretary tells me that you've brought a bestseller.
We didn't exactly bring it. It's at home being written.
Oh, it's an unwritten bestseller. Which one of you is the author?
Neither of us. It's being written by my father.
I take it this is his first book.
Yes, it is.
And you're here to get a publication contract and a big advance, right?
How did you know?
Because I have a file full of letters from people who want the same thing. I'm afraid there isn't much point in this, ladies.
But you haven't heard about Father's book yet.
Don't. You look like nice girls. Let me give you some advice. There isn't any publisher that'll give an unpublished writer a contract for a book without a complete outline and at least 2 chapters written.
But Uncle Kenneth's book is going to be a great book.
I wish Uncle Kenneth luck.
All right. We'll just have to take foreign correspondent to another publisher.
Do that. Now I'll read it when it comes out.
You'll find it on the bestseller list. Foreign correspondent by Kenneth Lane. Come on, Kathy. Bye.
Wait. What did you say?
I knew the title would get you.
Never mind the title. Are you talking about Kenneth Lane of the Chronicle?
Yes.
Oh, why didn't you say so?
You didn't ask us. Do you know Father?
Everybody knows your father. I've been after Ken for years to do a book.
You have?
So he finally made up his mind. Well, I can't tell you how delighted I am. And he couldn't have sent 2 lovelier emissaries.
He didn't exactly send...
Rosalie, have a contract drawn up. Yes. Non-fiction. Title, Foreign Correspondent. Author, Kenneth Lane. Maximum advance, yes. Delivery, 3 months?
I don't know if... Sure, that'll be plenty of time.
3 months, yes.
Just a minute. Come on in, honey.
How's it going?
Oh, fine. You know, it's always takes a little time for these things to get rolling.
I'm eager to read it. It's wonderful the way you've locked yourself in here. You've been working constantly. I'll bet you have a lot written.
Kathy, you remember I said I didn't think I could write this book?
And you were wrong, weren't you? Patty and I have a surprise for you. We got you a contract for your book with Bennett Blake.
You didn't.
Yes, we did. He was thrilled.
I have a little surprise for you. When the contract comes, you can put it right in there.
Father really tried to write that book, Patty, but it's against all his newspaper training. He said he couldn't get past the title.
All right, so we don't have a great author in the family. What's our next false move?
I think it's too late. He made an appointment to see about a job on another newspaper.
He can't do that. He belongs on the Chronicle.
I tried to stop him, but I couldn't. He's doing it for me.
Boy, that's when parents are the worst, when they're doing it for you. You know something, cousin? It took a miracle to get your father over here for Christmas. It's going to take another miracle to get him back.
Martin,
Yeah, what is it, J.R.?
where's Kenneth?
Kenneth who?
Your brother, Kenneth.
Oh, that Kenneth. Well, I think he's probably still at home. Why?
Well, he's too good a man to be sitting at home. You tell him to get his bags packed and take a plane for Kurdistan tonight.
You serious?
Do I seem to be filled with irrepressible levity? Get your brother on a plane tonight.
Kenneth doesn't work for the Chronicle any longer. You fired him.
Oh, that was merely a gesture of protest against this flaunting of authority. Why, Kenneth is the best foreign correspondent in the field. He knows I wouldn't fire him.
He does. Somehow I can't see you as a Santa Claus, J.R. Now, why don't you tell me what's going on?
Well, we just got this telegram. It seems General Mazim is willing to give an exclusive story on the inside of the revolution to
Ken.
Yes. It seems that while General Mazim was hiding out in the mountains, he and Kenneth became fast friends.
Well, well. So by disobeying your orders, Ken pulled off the story of the year.
Well, we won't go into that now.
No.
Of course, all the other papers and press services are after this story.
Of course.
But we are not going to let it get away from us. This is a top story. Top general flees army, hides in mountains, and overthrows government. This is the sort of thing that Pulitzer Prizes are made of. You tell that to Kenneth.
You tell it to him.
What?
You fired him. You rehire him. I'll see if he's upstairs.
But, Martin, he's your brother. Don't you want to break the good news to him?
No.
Hello, Mr. Castle.
Hello, Patty.
No, I'm Kathy.
I'm too wise a fox to be caught twice in the same trap. I've come to see your uncle.
Isn't he at the newspaper office?
What would he be doing at the newspaper office?
He works there.
You're talking about your father. I'm talking about your
Hi
uncle.
there, Mr. Castle. Is Papa here?
I detest this sort of chicanery.
Chicanery?
She's Patty.
Yes, I know. I told you.
You deliberately pretended to be you so that I would think it was her, and it didn't work.
Hello, J.R. Martin said you wanted to see me.
Kenneth, old boy, good to see you. You've been quite a stranger. I mean to say your paid vacation has done you the world of good. He looks fit, doesn't he, Martin?
Oh, yes, fit. What paid vacation?
Tell him, Martin.
JR is trying to ask you to come back to the Chronicle, Ken.
Oh, Father. I knew he could do it.
Well, I appreciate that, Johnny, but I've decided to take another job.
That's ridiculous. What sort of job?
It's a job on a city desk. That way I can be with Kathy.
Kathy and I have been working our heads off to get you back to Europe.
What?
It's true. That's why we wanted you to write that book. You belong over there, Father, doing what you do best.
General Mazim's waiting to give you an exclusive on the revolution.
And there'll be a small bonus.
A big bonus.
Big bonus?
I don't know what to say, Kit Kat. I hate the idea of leaving you again.
It will only be for a little while. I'll come over and see you this summer. Next year I'll be graduated, and we can be together again.
Well, it's just that, see, I had planned... Just say yes, Ken. All right. Cable the General not to talk to anyone till I get over there.
Oh, thank you, Kenneth. Good man. Natalie?
If it won't affect my husband's job, I would prefer not to speak with you.
Natalie?
I mean it. I think he's treated Kenneth shamefully.
Mom!
Kenneth should be back working for the Chronicle.
Aunt Natalie?
And you've overlooked something. He knows General Mazim. He could get a great story on the revolution.
Natalie...
No, leave her alone. I think Natalie has a point here. Natalie, why don't you and I go out in the kitchen and drink a cup of your great coffee while Kenneth packs his bag?
I put in some vitamins for you. You'll be sure to get plenty of rest.
I promise, Kit Kat.
And you'll wear the new sweater I bought you? The nights are awfully cold over there this time of year.
Right. Anything else?
Just please take care of yourself.
I will. For both of us. I'll write you as soon as I can.
Mr. Kenneth Lane?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. Your plane will be ready for departure immediately.
Oh.
Flight 607, now boarding at gate 17.
That's you, Ken.
Don't worry, Uncle Kenneth. We'll take good care of her for you.
Oh, I know you will.
If you get a chance, I wish you'd take another crack at that book, Uncle Kenneth.
Oh, that's not for me, honey. Well, Happy New Year. Martin.
Will passengers on flight 607 please board now?
Happy New Year, honey.
Fly the plane well, Dad. Happy New Year. I love you.
I love you.
Happy New Year, darling.
Gee, we made it through another one. Ready, Kathy? Ready, Patty. Let's get the new year on the road.
Here's Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins